HearSign's vision is to enhance interactions for deaf and hard of hearing people. We are living in very unique times right now. If we really think about it, because of the new social distancing measures, the option to use human intermediaries are even more limited, which further decreases basic human interactions for deaf people. Our mission is to cultivate inclusion and create opportunities for deaf and hard of hearing people so they are able to seamlessly integrate and play a productive role in mainstream society. We created the HearSign solution to promote simple ways to connect without a third-person interpreter, preventing isolation and loneliness. HearSign is the first solution to help deaf people communicate with hearing people that does not need a human interpreter in between. This solution will positively impact society by the nature of just bridging a communication gap between deaf and hearing people. Our revolutionary technology will be used by both deaf and hearing users. HearSign eliminates the need for a sign language interpreter by automating and facilitating two-way real-time sign language interpretations through audio, video, and text calls. The graphic on this slide represents how HearSign would work. In this example, two-way communication is occurring between a hearing person, Sophia, and a deaf person, Laura. Sophia wanted to call Laura to thank her, so Sophia calls Laura. Laura then answers her phone and sees an animated sign language interpretation that includes lip movements as well as facial expressions, which are signing, "Hi Laura, thank you for helping me." Laura comprehends what the sign language animation is communicating and is able to sign back into her phone camera. Laura's sign language is then converted to words that are audible to Sophia. The reason why HearSign is so incredibly unique is that sign language animation is able to demonstrate facial expressions and lip movements. In American Sign Language, facial expressions in conjunction with hand gestures are extremely important because it changes the meaning and the tone of a word. So for example, in sign language, there's a difference in saying surprise in a sentence, such as "I have a surprise for you," versus saying surprise. The way these differences are depicted is through the facial expressions and lip movements. The HearSign solution involves processing several terabytes of data. This can only be made possible by leveraging the powers of artificial intelligence using machine learning as well as natural language processing. Here is the architectural diagram to see how our technology will convert spoken words to artificial intelligence sign animated gestures. It starts as a mobile device. It will then convert the speech to text. Those texts will then be converted into sign language gestures. Every sign language gesture will be included in the code, and those codes will all be put together and form a real-time sign language gesture generator. The United States has approximately 1 million people that need American Sign Language to communicate on a daily basis. The assumption that we have made is that each of those people would interact with a minimum conservative estimate of 4 people. This creates a target market size of roughly 5 million users in the United States. Since our average selling price is $5 per month, which creates a target market opportunity of $300 million in the United States alone. Our initial target market segments have an enterprise component as well as a consumer component for B2B and B2C, business to business and business to consumer. In the business to business, our initial customers will be in the healthcare provider space as well as the educational institutions, including higher education and K through 12. For example, if a person who is deaf needs to go to the doctor, they need to have somebody with them to translate ASL, and their doctor needs that interpreter to understand what the ASL user is trying to communicate. In our B2C section, we are focusing on average consumers. As a teenager, I talk on the phone all the time. But how would a deaf person be able to communicate on the phone with hearing people is the real question. HearSign creates the opportunity to have normal interactions for both deaf as well as hearing people. We are entering a market that already has 3 existing companies providing solutions for hearing impaired. They are Sorensen, Stratus Video, and the well-known TTY. Let me explain to you what each of these companies does very briefly. Sorensen does live on-demand interpreting through video. Stratus Video is also a live on-demand interpreting service through videos that primarily caters only the healthcare industry. Right there, it is obvious that both of these companies' business models are dependent on interpreters. The last competitor, the TTY, allows people who are deaf or hard of hearing to use a telephone to communicate by sending texts back and forth to each other. This makes them dependent on a very specific type of a telephonic technology. Our competitors have been in the market for more than 5 years, so they are relatively entrenched and have grown traction in the industry because of the number of years they've been in business. The problem is that these companies only address elements of the overarching problem. From a competitive differentiator standpoint, HearSign addresses the 4 major drawbacks associated with existing competitor. Number 1, costs. Number 2, the need for an interpreter. Number 3, multi-language capacity. And 4, the need for additional equipment. HearSign has a more powerful value proposition from an ease of use and a reach potential perspective. Our go-to-market strategy includes a high-touch and a low-touch component. The low-touch component will include all of the virtual components, including email, telesales, social media, press, and SEO. The high touch will be looking to leverage partnerships with healthcare providers, insurance companies, and organizations that focus on hearing disabilities. We will be investing most of our money dedicated to sales on the high touch component. Our revenue model is based on certain assumptions. For our consumer model, we are charging $3 per month. And for the enterprise model, we charge $7 per month per user. We are expecting a 10% month-over-month growth rate, not in the number of enterprises, but the number of users in each enterprise alone. We have assumed that the average enterprise size is around 100 users. We expect to generate a profit of approximately $900,000 in our 3rd year of using HearSign. Our cost of goods sold will be roughly 20% of the revenue. This includes the direct cost of running servers for access and authentication. It will also include the cost of updating AI/ML models, and these will be executed on the device directly. We are amortizing the cost of initial software development for over 3 years, and creating our MVP is expected to take 6 months. I am extremely lucky and grateful for the team that I work with. Each comes with unique perspectives and life experiences. Emily Wong, our Vice President of Product Development, is very detail-oriented and thorough. Our team works so well because we healthily challenge each other. On this venture, we've been extremely fortunate to have 3 very qualified professionals that have distinguished themselves in their own right. Mindy Newhouse, a certified speech pathologist, helped us truly understand the challenges deaf and hard of hearing people go through. Ram Iyer, the president of Sunvera Software, is currently working with us in formulating the prototype. And Melanie Nanny, a sign language interpreter, was able to teach us some of the nuances in sign language that we did not know existed. We had to leverage a lot of people to help us conceptualize this idea. We know there's a lot of opportunity in this market because our vision was validated by people who work in the ASL field. We believe that this idea has the potential to tremendously serve the deaf and hard of hearing impaired community. We are looking for $100,000 in seed money to go to the market. In addition to this, we will be investing $30,000 of our own personal funds. This money will primarily be used for sales and marketing and product development, and what is remaining will be used on any other general expenses, including equipment or hardware. Our vision is to help deaf and hard of hearing people assimilate into the mainstream society. We believe that HearSign is well positioned to address this market challenge and open doors for the deaf population around the globe. HearSign will resolve issues in the deaf community one sign at a time.
Very nice. And with 10 seconds to go, that was perfect timing. And just so you guys know, I do have the timer. It'll go off right when we're hitting that 10-minute mark. I'll go ahead and you'll hear that sound. So wonderful job. Let's get into the Q&A portion of this. Judges?
Sure, I'll go first if that's okay.
Yeah.
So this is actually a question for Emily, and that was really well done. I appreciate it. You hit all the high points, but if you go back to your architecture slide, one of the questions I would have for you is, you've got all these pieces of the architecture. Which of those pieces do you think you have to build, and which ones do you think you could borrow, beg from somebody else, use open source? Has Emily thought about that as to how much effort it's going to take to bring this to market by dividing it up into pieces and figuring out where to spend your hard-earned cash and which areas you can get maybe for free?
Right. So I think you're talking about our model where we see that the AI engine is converting gestures back into text through video vector codes. A lot of that technology does exist currently, and so we are looking into partnerships with AI experts and those who are currently developing machine learning. It's just that this type of technology hasn't necessarily been applied towards the specific industry that we're looking towards, which is healthcare.
Sure. That's your secret sauce. I get it. Thank you.
Yes. Hi. Congratulations. That was great. And I'm a college professor, and it was at that level or better. So I'm really impressed. So I have two questions, and going back to your financial projections and the last slide that you showed us, you said that you are allocating $40,000 for product development, and I was wondering if that's for the MVP, or you actually project to spend $40,000 in the whole product, because since you're using artificial intelligence and so many potential technology components, I really want to know how you got to that number and what includes.
Okay, so first we decided to do 100,000 of what we need in seed funding. This would come from anywhere from investors or angel investors. That was just the amount we allocated towards our company. We decided to designate 40,000 toward product development because that was the max amount we believe we'd need to develop our MVP. And all of the rest of that amount would help us develop the technology needed and test beta testing to help us understand how to use our product further.
Okay, so this is for the MVP.
Yes.
And then in your business model, you have both the business-to-business model, which is great. I think it's fantastic and very appropriate. And then your business-to-customer. So you actually, I want to understand, you actually expect not only the people that need this because of their impairment, but also the people, the people that they are communicating with.
Exactly.
By the product. So how do you plan to convince the people, and how do you plan to make it work for all the people that they will love to communicate with, but it will be just once, or they don't know they will be required to have this? So it's really complicated, because if I understood right, this is an app that both sides need to have, right? So explain me the logic behind that.
Okay, so how it works is, you're exactly right. It's a two-way, real-time, automated sign language translation. In order for a deaf person and a hearing person to communicate, both sides would need to have access to this app. For the consumer version, it would be sold through the App Store. And for the enterprise version, it would be sold as a separate technology or a software that they can purchase individually. So since both sides do need the app, we would be targeting it because we made an estimate of 4 people would be needing to interact with deaf person on a daily basis or even a yearly basis. So we assume that there'd be 4 main people that they'd need to communicate with. So those people would be more inclined to purchase the app so they have that opportunity to talk.
Fantastic. I'm going to make a comment, and this is something food for thought for you, because if I cannot hear and I need to communicate using sign language, probably those 4 people that will love to communicate with me, they'll be very acquainted with sign language. Probably my biggest pain, it's the people that doesn't know, that are closest to me, that are the ones in the situation you presented. the store manager or the store person. So I immediately thought, okay, how that people are going to acquire this app. Do we want them to acquire it immediately? Do they have to pay? Would that solve their problem? Will they be able to do that? So just food for thought, because I think there's other ways also to make it available for everybody. But great, I love it.
Thank you.
Hey, how's it going? This is Rich Simonson. Can you hear me?
Yeah, how are you doing?
Hey, sorry about you seeing Melody Simonson on that's my wife's account because my company won't allow it to load Zoom on our products because of the security nature of it. But nice to meet you. Very well done. In very interesting application. And what did I ask? You know, you're first looking at it from two sides, but oftentimes when I'm working with companies or buying companies or looking at technologies, I think about pivot points or where you would look at it differently. Have you looked at the idea of not having it on two sides, but just having it as an app on your phone? So someone can just talk, it listens to the conversation, and it just puts sign language on the phone for the person that's deaf. So you don't need the two sides of it, you just need an app on the phone. Have you looked at it from that perspective?
Emily, want to do this one?
Yeah, I think that's definitely a really good possibility for a pivot point. I think our original model was based on that two-way component, but mostly because we were focused on the current climate and, you know, communicating with like close relatives or things like that. But I think that that is definitely something for us to consider and reaching more people at a more accessible level.
And I think like adding on to that, I think it's extremely important to have a one medium so they can just do like an immediate real-time translation. I think we focused more on the two-way so we could communicate with family members, like Emily said, like out of state or far away that we wouldn't be able to communicate with on a daily basis.
Okay, and then, you know, two other things. Apple is the only phone product that has Edge ML built into it. Every other phone product or phone that's out there has to go back up to the cloud. You know, so from an ease or quickness of use, Apple actually has a group, Apple Health products, where they're actually looking for new applications and working on it. And I'll give you one other lead. Microsoft Azure is actually funding interesting uses for the Azure product. And they've actually got a dedicated marketing budget where they're giving companies money for interesting uses of the Microsoft Azure platform. And so I don't know if you've looked into presenting it to like a Microsoft Azure or Apple Health. But
we definitely looked into it. Our team agreed that we need to create a MVP and have our team agree on how we want the concept to go to market first and how we would achieve the target market audience that we're hoping for. And I think once we have an audience, it'll be easier to form a partnership with someone just because we would have established ourselves in the market.
Okay. All right. Very good answer. Thank you.
So Emily and Sita, you two are clearly very talented, but winning as an early stage business, it's all about your team, and you're going to need to add some others at some point. Who's going to be the third person on your team in terms of skill set? What will they know how to do?
I'll go ahead and take this one. So we're looking into hiring someone who specializes in sales and marketing particularly. You'll notice in our budget that is something we heavily advocate towards. And so we see there that is definitely a way for us to reach out to consumers specifically and reach that market, as well as have us foster our partnerships with, you know, educational institutions or already established companies.
Excellent, thanks.
And I just want to jump in. We've got about 1 minute and 45 seconds left for feedback and questions.
Just some quick feedback. I love that you defined a real problem up front. I mean, your opening slide is your elevator pitch, and you laid it out very clearly. Here's a real problem that we are going to solve, and here's how we're going to solve it. And I love the close as well. It's an ask, and what you're going to do with the ask is a certain amount of money. The only thing missing from my end is what milestone are you going to hit with that seed capital? In other words, What are you going to apply it to that can be measured, so that when you go to ask for additional money, you've got progress that you can point to, a defined goal. That's it.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
And I want to say your delivery was flawless. Okay, great job. It was amazing.
Thank you.
You know what? It was delivered with conviction, and that's what made it perfect. Perfect. Thank you.
All right. Well, with 40 seconds left on the clock, you guys, that was amazing. Good job. Great performance, like great presentation. Really impressed. And we've got up next Synapse, and their company name is Synapse. So if you guys want to go ahead and take over the screen.
All right, Alex, you ready?
Perfect. Clock starts now.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bhavik Rajaboina. Oh, sorry, one sec, Alicia. I think Alex might be muted or something.
Sure. I'll pause. I will start it over.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. Yeah.
All right.
Nope.
All right, let's start again. 3, 2, 1. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bhavik Rajaboina.
And my name is Alex Burt, and today we will be presenting on behalf of Team Synapse, bridging the achievement gap for individuals with disabilities.
Before we begin our presentation, we would like to give you a story about Timothy Nye. Timothy Nye is a 24-year-old with cerebral palsy living in Fountain Hills, Arizona. He spent 5 years in high school and is currently unemployed. Ever since Timothy was a kid, he faced negative biases from his teachers who believed he was incapable of mastering the general ed curriculum. In fact, the specialized program that he was sent to recommended that he go to separate classrooms and complete easier homework, like building cardboard boxcars. Fast forward to his graduation, Timothy wanted to have a job as a cashier at local restaurants. But unfortunately, his lack of mathematical and social skills prevented him from finding any source of employment. Timothy's story is the unfortunate reality for millions of young high school and young adult IDD students. Let's go more in depth to the factors contributing to problems that Timothy's facing. First is the lack of special education teachers. In 2019, the number of special education teachers dropped by 17%. And experts believe this is the case because they're facing insurmountable amounts of stress despite their passion for the job. What's even more concerning, however, is the fact that a large majority of these specialized teachers are underprepared, and they may approach students in the wrong way, lowering their self-esteem and their belief in themselves. The second factor is the lack of shorter individualized education plans. Individualized education plans are problematic for two reasons. First, some of the solutions proposed by these plans can actually be more harmful than beneficial, as mentioned in Timothy's case. But secondly, these plans are often 30 pages or longer. And this is problematic because special ed teachers have numerous students. So reading those 30-page documents for every single student is going to be near to impossible. Hence, they cannot accommodate for their needs. And finally, the lack of work-based educational programs. A study from Notre Dame found that if work-based programs are implemented in schools, students with disabilities will be less likely to drop out, mainly because they now have a purpose. They have a reason to get out of bed. They're contributing to society. And this mentality is what could drive that. Unfortunately, a lack of all these three factors is what's driving the 66.5% graduation rate amongst the IDD population and a whopping and a staggering and a shocking 15% employment rate amongst the IDD population. The status quo is extremely problematic, and Synapse seeks to establish that change. Synapse is an online web platform that seeks to provide individuals with disabilities with academic and vocational curriculum with hopes that they can graduate from high school and find vocation that is meaningful. We live to the mantra, accessible any place, anytime, anywhere. And given that approximately 77% of the United States has access to the internet, it's only sitting and fitting that we made the website, when we made our application web-based. Let's talk more about how our product works. First, the IDD, the individual with a disability and their parent would first sit down with our AI chatbot. The AI would ask basic questions like what their name is, what disabilities they have, And based on the information and responses the AI receives, it'll provide recommended curriculum. That's step 2. Once the student looks over the academic and vocational curriculum, Synapse will then provide them with the offer of finding a job that's of their interest. If they agree, we will do our best to connect them with basic and with internships that match their interest. For example, a person who is interested in mathematics may be able to find a job as a cashier. Our company has already made several steps to become successful. We've already begun talking with Jessica Sarkada of Paradox.ai to build the AI in our chatbot. We also interviewed Scottsdale Community College to potentially learn about making a partnership with them. As they explained, they don't really have any programs for their young adult disabled population. And finally, we're going to also work with Kansea.org as we're going to give them our developed sample curriculum and see if they are open to beta testing. Our team is built of finance, technology, and neuroscience professionals. Alex Burr, our CEO, has founded 2 other social ventures and was a finalist in the Conrad Challenge, hence title of CFO. I am the COO, as I spearheaded a couple Alzheimer's research projects at the University of Arizona's College of Medicine. Zachary Hori was the winner of the Congressional Regional App Challenge, hence the title of CTO. And Ritik Jandyala, one of our most passionate members, is a CDO and gold medalist in academic pentathlon. We also have a huge array and diverse set of mentors from Paradox.ai, Kansea.org, as well as GrowthX Academy, an organization that's going to ensure and help us make our curriculum have an impact. We don't just want to give our curriculum, we want to make sure that it's understandable and can actually have an impact on our target audience.
So how exactly are we going to spread to our users? We have 2 major through vertical marketing and flyers and newspapers. Because we are a B2B2C company primarily, our major way would be through vertical marketing. This means we'll be reaching out to organizations, doctors, and researchers who can directly feed their students into our program. Because these organizations already have a strong relationship, an established relationship with these students, they'll be more likely to join our platform and we'll be able to grow a lot faster through this method. As of now, we've already started working with Kansea, who we believe will be able to be very beneficial to us in this way. And Bhavik also has mentors at ASU who will be helping with some of the psychological areas as well. Not only this, but once we start expanding into our 3rd and 4th years, we plan on using flyers and newspapers as well. Because we won't have as established of a base as we do in the Scottsdale, Phoenix area with these organizations, through flyers and newspapers, we'll be able to directly market to these organizations and build a larger base there as well. We believe this will allow us to expand the fastest and gain the most number of customers through this vertical marketing stream. Next, let's take a look at our finances. Based on our 5-year financial projections, we found that even though we will face a pretty large amount of debt during our first 2 years of $2 million, we will be able to break even by year 3 and gain profitability by years 4 and 5. This means that even though it may cost a lot up front in order to develop our curriculum and show proof of concept, once we do this, we'll be able to be very successful in gaining lots of traction moving forward and expanding into other areas as well, such as veterans in year 3. In order to do this, we have 3 major revenue streams. The first off is formula grants. We plan on not charging the users anything directly to use our educational platform and product, but rather working with the governmental organizations in order to have $1,200 per each user we recruit and help with our platform. We believe this is a very reasonable estimate based on some competitive analysis and research. Secondly, we plan on having a job commission fee. We plan on charging 10% of the first year's income of whatever job we help people achieve through our platform. Compared to resources such as Monster.com that don't provide nearly as many resources as we do, we believe this is also another very reasonable estimate for our company. And third, starting in years 2 and 3, we plan on also featuring different boards on our website. For example, we'll have company boards to help companies advertise their platform and their job positions for people with disabilities, and we'll also have therapist boards as well. Taking a look at the competitive landscape, we can see that we provide something that is very niche and unlike any other company. We can see while there are companies like Willowstar 3D and Konos that help with academic assistance, they do not help with the vocational training aspect, meaning the people that use these platforms, while they may get more educated, they will not have a job afterwards. Meanwhile, while there are platforms like Ingenuity and Monster that focus on the vocational training component, they don't focus on the academic assistance or the social skill training, which means that even though they may have the work training needed to be there, they may not have the foundations in place in order to successfully work at these companies. Meanwhile, at Synapse, we take a completely holistic approach. We combine the academic assistance, vocational training, and help with social skills as well. This is backed by our artificial intelligence platform, which is able to diagnose our students and make sure they're getting the best of both worlds and exactly what they need to be successful. And to look into our market, we can see there's definitely a large amount of people that we can help in this space. In the US, there are a total of 61 million disabled people. If we take that down a little bit further, we can see that in the 14 to 30-year-olds, there's 4.4 million people. And then if we take a look at just 2.5%, that is 105,000. And we believe this is a very reasonable estimate for our first 5 years of the company, and we believe we'll definitely be able to achieve this based on an analysis of similar organizations. So what do we plan on doing forward? Currently we have a 5-year projections of what we want to work on with our company. By the end of 2020, we want to finish securing our partnership with Paradox.ai and establish different measures to ensure for IP protection. By 2022, we want to begin adding our therapist board and expand to veterans in other areas as well. I'm going to reach 40,000 people. And by 2024, we want to expand to the 2.5% of people across the entire United States. So thank you for listening to our pitch on our company, and I will happily take any questions you may have.
That is perfect timing. The timer just went off, so let me set it up for the Q&A. And just to let everyone know, Operation Leave No One Behind is up next. There's just been a little change in the schedule, so if you guys can go ahead and get ready, that would be great. And I will set the timer for 5 minutes for judges to ask questions for you guys. Judges?
I went first last time. Yeah, go ahead.
So thank you. So great. That was a fantastic presentation. So thank you so much. I have a couple of questions, so I'll be brief. First, I want to understand, and it was not clear on the slide, when you mentioned the size of the market and you talk about the amount of people with disabilities, it was not clear to me if you actually divide or segment I'll have the different segments of the type of disabilities this market has. Like all of them are able to work, or just a small like piece of that market. And then my second question, it's you're planning to educate them, or at least to support their education, and also basically link that with a potential job. But I was not clear about how you're going to assess like the skills and abilities or the learning they got from your application, and how that will be applied to the job requirements. Are you planning to assess to prove this employer that they certainly have the skills and competencies to comply with those requirements? Because I think that's really important if you want to convince the employer that you have potential resources for them.
Thank you for those two questions. I'll first answer the first one, and then my partners can tag along if they have anything to add.
Sure.
So currently our plan is to first focus on assisting individuals with physical disabilities like cerebral palsy. The main reason we want to do that is because building the curriculum around such physical disabilities will not be as troubling. But what happens is when we also have a plan to expand to other disabilities as well, such as autism. And in order to make sure that our curriculum expands and can address the needs of an individual with a different disability, we're going to partner with GrowthX Academy. That organization is going to make sure that our curriculum can be understood by a specific type of disability like autism. So to answer your question, our end goal down the line, like after a certain amount of years, is to do our best to address a large portion of developmental disabilities.
Yeah, and then going off a little bit of that and answering your second question, basically, yeah, what we found is that by first focusing on like the intellectual disability area, we're then going to be able to like work with like Hensea and have like proof of concept before we go into the other areas. So like the 105,000 number, that basically accounts for like the first group of disabilities that we'll be focusing on, which will be mostly in the developmental space. And by doing that, we project it will cost around like $800,000 to make like our first curriculum for our first disability. But then from there, we'll definitely be able to like expand and make modifications and address like the different one's needs. But yeah, we definitely plan on focusing on different niche areas first before we expand into different larger areas.
A question. This is Rich Simonsek. Thank you. A great problem to deal with, especially in light of many large companies. We're having to file and prove that we're working on social responsibility issues within our community and larger area, and the ability to employ people that have been trained with skills for us would meet some of that criteria. So, but you used the word using AI to diagnose certain disabilities. Are there legal or ethical ramifications to having your AI engine actually diagnose an individual in terms of that assessment?
Well, the AI like platform isn't diagnosing them. Like they're gonna have like professionals diagnose them with the different disability they have. And basically what the artificial intelligence platform does is it basically takes their strengths and their weaknesses. So they'll fill out like questions about the different areas they're strong in, like different subject areas of interest. And then basically like their academic background and stuff like that. And then through that, it will take all those factors and it will find like the curriculum that would best be suited to help them fill any like gap areas or areas of deficiency. And then also it will help provide different like job options and vocational training in order to achieve those job options. But, like our platform's not like diagnosing them with any specific disability stuff. It's just taking their strengths and weaknesses and also considering like their disability in mind in order to provide the curriculum and the vocational training needed to fit that specific job. And then, yeah, because we plan on working with like some of these companies directly to see like what type of work and like the type of training that is needed in order for someone with disabilities to be successful there. So through directly working, we'll be able to like have the best diagnosis of what that company needs and then make sure that our platform is able to address that through its training.
Okay.
And I can also, I can also tag along and say that we also chose Paradox because they already have an established program that does it links the students with job placement. So by combining both of these elements with the AI, which would basically just compare their personalities and skills, and it would develop a more personalized experience.
And let me we've got 4 minutes and 15 seconds left for feedback and questions.
Okay, and then one more question. Can AI Engine read the IEP document and have that enter that into its analysis or assessment?
Or we also, like the engine's basically just to diagnose, like, or to not diagnose, to find out like what type of curriculum would be best suited in like the training part. But we also accounted for like each student we work with will spend like have a professional or someone work with them for around like 20 hours in order to find out like what's best for them. So like it's not it's basically not going to diagnose like the whole IEP. It's not going to read through all that stuff. It's just going to find the different areas that will be best suited in order to fill those different areas. And then we'll have like someone work with them for a little bit of time in order to ensure that like it can go along with their individualized education program. So in order to make sure that it achieves those goals as well. But like it's not like completely like just going through like the document and like making sure it like fits all those areas. We're also going to have like some type of like personal interaction as well. But the point of this platform is that they'll reach out to the person, not like continuously like they would with like a teacher, but instead whenever they need it. Because one of the things that we found is that people with disabilities, if they're just like constantly have a teacher, they sometimes and often feel like they're being biasly treated against. But if they're the ones reaching out whenever they need the help, then they feel it like boosts their confidence and allows for a lot higher levels of achievement as well.
Okay, thank you. Cede the floor.
So I got two comments and one piece of feedback to maybe help. The first comment is, I love the fact that you led off with a story. You totally sucked me into your presentation with the story up front. Captured my imagination, and I was wondering how you were going to solve this problem, and then you fill it up with a solve the problem. The second thing I loved was that you focused on your revenue streams, both the initial revenue streams and even kind of teased me with some future revenue streams. So you piqued my interest. You know, you're pitching this to a venture capitalist, you need to get them engaged, and you did a really good job of that. The one thing that you could do to strengthen this presentation, and it's probably something that you haven't thought about, is investors love to invest in areas where there's been previous success. And you're lucky that you all live in the Phoenix market. There are a lot of educational entrepreneurs with new approaches to training and education out of Phoenix. And if you would stress that you've got access to the talent that's in the Phoenix market and knowledge of the education space, I think you could even build a powerful pitch. But I just love the story up front. I wasn't sure where you're going with it, and you totally had me sucked into the rest of the presentation at that point. I paid attention the entire time, which is when you pitch like this, that's the most important thing you can do, is capture the audience's presentation, capture their attention. Thanks.
Thank you.
Very nice. We have 1 minute left. Does anyone have any other feedback that they would like to give before we wrap up and move on to the next team?
Yes. My questions were more related to your potential market, and it's because I had the privilege to work in this segment with a big organization in Puerto Rico. And there is a certain importance if you're going to work with that community and actually understanding all the different disabilities and the levels of what they need and what their pains are, because there's a lot of variation. And to prove that you have done your research, that you fully understand what's happening and what are the pains for those different segments, for me, it's really important, because maybe you need to change a little bit your solution for each segment, okay? But it was an amazing presentation. And by the way, I was pretty impressed by your team.
Thank you.
You did a great job presenting all the resources you have and all the knowledge behind that team.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hey, one last piece of feedback. It was really well done. I understood solves a problem, helps with large companies with social responsibility needs. But you know, better articulation of the ask. Right, you know, in terms of great serves the need, hooked me up on the story. I agree, but what is the ask? Maybe work on that a little bit more.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
Very nice. Well, you guys, great presentation, great work. I'm so proud of all of you guys so far. This is amazing. Everyone has come so far in this. So up next we have Mass, and they are presenting 21 Meat. So if you guys want to queue up your screen, we can get started on your presentation. Are you guys ready? I think we're a little bit early from what we were planning on, but if you guys are ready, go ahead and queue up and we can get started. All right, I know I see a couple team members in there, but all right, perfect. And just make sure that you guys unmute too before you begin.
Sorry about the delay. That's us, yeah. So, hello, my name is Srishti Rajiv, and I am part of Team Mass. So, my teammates Melinda Zhang, Aniela Miernik, Sydney Wolford, and I are excited to present our nonprofit company, 21Me, a mental health app that allows children with Down syndrome to interact with one another indirectly to improve their mental health. Our differentiator is that we are designed specifically for those with Down syndrome. So problem, a gap we fill in the market is the lack of mental health apps available for children with Down syndrome. Half of children with Down syndrome develop mental health issues because there's no one to sympathize with what they are going through. This is incredibly painful for our customers because parents often notice that their child is experiencing a change in emotion, but fail to realize these changes could be indicators of mental illness, leaving children to combat emotions on their own. The biggest influencers of our marketing and partnerships. Establishing good relations with all of our partners is critical to our success. Our solution is an app that allows users to chat with other children affected by Down syndrome and private events. As you can see here, we've created several mock screens including messaging, find your friends, introduction, and calendar of event screens. We also plan to create a website that will share success stories and information. "21Me benefits children by giving the user a community to lean on, improving their mental health. Our solution will outperform competitors because of our safety procedures, including a 3-minute interview with the on-staff mental health counselor before you use the app, assistive technology to make it easy to navigate, and constant monthly improvements. We predict that we will have a negative 14% ROI for the first year, but we plan to bring it up to 15 and 17% for the second and third year respectively. Our solution would be a market push because we are relying on other businesses and social media to grow. Timing-wise, the mental health mobile industry is currently thriving, which allows new companies such as 21Me to emerge. A recent report by the CNBC shows that the demand for mental health apps has increased by 30% due to COVID-19 because children are isolated even more than X. Shown on this slide is our TAM, SAM, and SOM values. As you can see here, the mobile health industry is valued at $236 billion by the year 2026, growing at a compound annual growth rate of 44.7%. North America accounts for much of the global mobile health market share. And if you look at this graph, software is actually worth more in terms of market size than support services. Some other considerations include, number one, we address business to consumer segment first as a fee-based online intermediary, requiring a subscription fee from our customers while connecting them to external services. Number two, external factors that could affect our business are seasons and pandemics. Because kids are more likely to meet up during certain seasons, like summer, usage of our app may fluctuate throughout the year. Although our company could suffer during pandemics because businesses are closed, kids will be in extra need of mental support during these times, meaning more customers could subscribe. Industry for disruption. I show that the health industry is one that will be on an impressive rise for the next few years. Our go-to market strategy. It would be very easy to enter the mental health mobile industry given the current timing. We would offer volunteers our prototype testing a 30-day free trial. These would probably result in our sales. We would reach customers through social media, partnerships, our website, and medical professionals who would inform customers of the benefits of our app. Partnerships will help us gain immediate cash flow and allow us to provide more events for the app users. The supply chain is mainly handled by our IT team, who will deal with the production of our business. The IT team and the mental health professional that we hire will manage the supply, production, and distribution of our app and subsequent accounts. We intend on scaling nationally by finding businesses to partner with in each state as well as relying on our franchise partnerships. Revenue model. Our team plans to make money off of advertisements, subscription fees, and fundraising. Our customer acquisition costs, lifetime value, and customer attrition rate are all shown on this slide. Traction and validation. For product validation, we will undergo 3 rounds of prototype testing, each consisting of 30 to 40 volunteers each, who will provide us feedback on how well the app functioned. Before demo testing, we will conduct usability and desirability testing and establishing MOUs with as many local businesses as possible, but establish contracts with our major partners like Gigi's Playhouse. This roadmap shows the steps we must take in order to launch our app. As you can see, we've already generated an idea and partnered with local businesses, but we still need to create and test our app and website. This diagram shows the roadmap of the future of 21Me. In 2020, we will finish starting up our company. In 2021, we will launch our app and hire a mental health professional in order to reach 75% of children with Down syndrome in Arizona. In 2022, we will hire other critical roles and reach 50% of children with Down syndrome in half of the US. By 2023, we hope to reach 75% of children nationwide with a low CAC cost. In years 4 and 5, we hope to expand our company internationally while reaching other disabilities. Our management team. Our team currently consists of the 4 founding members displayed on the slide. We are all sophomores in the CREST program at Paradise Valley High School and believe that we can build a successful company because of our passion towards helping the Down syndrome community. Board founders and investors will serve the critical roles of board members. But because we don't have extensive knowledge about technology, finance, and we will have a mental health professional, an app and website development team, a CFO, and a human resource professional. Financially, we are currently requesting $102,000 to help start up our business. Each founder has invested $10,000 for a total of $40,000. As of right now, we have not received any money from investors. Our startup capital will go towards hiring app and website developers and paying for year 1 operating expenses. As a nonprofit, we have no shareholders. The initial valuation of our company is our startup cost, or $102,000, while the 3-year valuation is all of our leftover money from years 1 to 3 of our business. If we consistently produce enough money, we will not need any additional money in the future. However, a good amount of cushion money is $70,000. Our company's burn rate is also $102,000, but if funding is delayed, we can reduce it by lowering our ROI. We estimate that our out-of-cash dates are 27 months, 13 months, and 133 months for years 1, 2, and 3. A conservative projection of our net income is shown on the right. Some more aggressive projections for that time frame are on the far left. But our most reasonable projection for net income, taking into consideration all factors, is the median projection. Competitive analysis-wise, our market position is the safety and community that general mental health apps cannot provide. A related weakness is that we only aid children with Down syndrome, which is why we'll hope to eventually expand to a variety of disabilities. A related strength is that we will provide a safe environment for kids, earning parents' trust, and our subscription fees is $15 a month, which can be slightly more than competitors, but we offer more services like safety. Technology and distribution in this industry are all very similar. All companies have an app and website and use advertisements to promote themselves. But along with ads, we will have partnerships as well. Our market differentiator is our app's assistive technology, making us superior because general mental health apps can't provide this same feature. Most competitors are very entrenched in this industry, have shown traction, and have financial stability. As the demand for mental health apps has increased by 30% this year and usually generate a total of $587.9 million annually. Our app will win because of safety and loyalty. Our biggest barriers to entry are startup capital and a limitation of technical knowledge. We will protect our software with patents. All unique elements of our app will be copyrighted. Any source code will be submitted and registered with the U.S. Copyright Office, and also be protected using trade secret laws. Personally identifiable data about our customers, or PII, will be protected as another trade secret. Our brand name, logos will all be protected under trademark law. According to patent searches, there are no patents similar to our company's that have been filled as of right now. In order to mitigate and avoid threats like hackers, malware, and viruses, our company will have an IT and cybersecurity team dedicated to protecting intellectual property and the app itself. Our app is currently looking to receive certification from the Anxiety and Depression Association of America.
And that was actually the 10 minutes. So if you want that was actually 10 minutes. So if you want to go ahead and wrap up really quickly, then we'll go ahead and get to the questions and feedback. But we'll give you an extra minute or so.
This is our last slide, so we should be done soon. So in terms of usage of our fundings, for our company, we would need a startup capital of approximately $102,000. $4,000 would go towards building a website, $50,000 would go towards building our app, another $4,000 for a calendar feature, and the last $44,000 would go towards year-one operating expenses. The initial startup capital would come mainly from angel investors, family investors, and social media company philanthropy. Our startup capital will be used to hire app development personnel to get our app and website set up and to pay for operating expenses in year one. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions or concerns or even any feedback, feel free to express them.
All right. Hey, this is Rich. I guess I'll go first since we're going round robin on this one. Can you see me? Hello?
We can hear you. Yeah, we're good.
Okay. Hey, great, really well done. I love the fact that you discussed customer acquisition costs. I love the fact that you talked about the steps in validation. And I really love the fact that you had some future roadmap in terms of direction and where you're going. One interesting question I have is, why $102,000? How did you come up with $102,000 for the ask?
Yeah, so we actually listed what we needed specifically from that. It was $4,000 goes towards developing our website, $54,000 goes towards developing our app, and $44,000 is to pay for year one operating expenses.
Very good, thank you. And then security. I imagine this is probably going to be the largest issue with this, protecting those people that are using this app from predators and those that will want to do wrong. How do you do that exactly?
I'll take that question, thank you. So we actually have a mental health professional who will be certified by the American Psychology Association to understand and be able to diagnose children with Down syndrome. So before users are actually allowed onto our app, they have a conversation with this mental health professional who will ensure the kid actually has Down syndrome and are not using the app for nefarious activity. Along with that, we offer encryption and cybersecurity team to protect the app itself.
Wow, thank you. Very well done.
So team, nicely done. A couple pieces of feedback on this is that I loved the fact that you are paying attention to prototype testing and user acceptance testing. That is something that very few entrepreneurs do until it's too late, and you stressed it right up front. And I, even in my own company, have had failures of not doing enough user acceptance testing in the last 2 years. It's become way more important than it ever has been. So I love that. And the second thing I loved is your focus on IP. You actually had a slide in there talking about your intellectual property, and investors just gravitate to that because they want to know what's going to make what you're doing unique so that others can't do it. And you're already aware that you need to protect your ideas. But my last comment, and it's the most powerful, is you used a phrase in the middle of your presentation, and you used the word passion, and how all four of you, the four founders, are passionate about this market. And that comes across in this presentation. And there's nothing better for investors to recognize is that the founders actually have a love of what they're going to do, and they're not just doing it for fame and fortune. They actually are passionate about this. So that really got me when you said that. So thank you.
All right, we still have a few minutes left. We've got 1 minute left on
I'll
the
be brief.
and 5 minutes for feedback.
So thank you so much for the presentation. Amazing job. You certainly identified a critical challenge and an important problem that we got. But I was wondering, and this is, you want to basically improve mental health for kids with Down syndrome. I would like to know, because it was not clear to me, what kind of mental health illness or situations it's the app going to be prepared to tackle, and how difficult or what challenges you envision it will have moving forward into other mental health issues that your audience may have.
Awesome, I'll take over that question as well. So our app indirectly addresses mental health issues. The Teen National Suicide Hotline states that a majority of these suicide cases and mental health issues could have been prevented if people had a community to rely on. And with children with Down syndrome, finding a community can be very hard. So we offer that to them to help indirectly improve their mental health. So that covers anxiety, OCD, depression, etc. We also have mental health professionals that will constantly do routine check-ins on their well-being since using the app. So how much has this app influenced your mental health? How are you feeling? Many of our businesses that we partner with, such as Gigi's Playhouse, offer therapy sessions. So when those kids are able to book private events off our calendar, they can book therapy sessions off our website as well, because often that can be hard to find for someone with Down syndrome.
Well answered. Thank you.
I have something to say really quick. I noticed in your when you were talking about funding, you didn't have any like government grants listed or anything, but there are lots of government grants. Like if you go to the website for the Office of Special Education and Rehabilitative Services, there are lots of grants you can apply to, and then you can get some of your money there. And just as a public service announcement to everyone, fill out your census, because then Arizona will get more money.
Thanks for that. Judges, any last comments or questions?
I just had one thought. So this is for children with Down syndrome, and obviously the maturity level of children with Down syndrome varies greatly. So where does the children stop? Do they have to roll off the app? Are they not allowed to use it after a certain age?
I can take this one. So we're targeting kids from ages 6 to 17, but there isn't really like an age limit. So we kind of made our product so it targets ages 6 to 17, and therefore our app has like assistive steps and stuff like that to make it easier for them to use, but it is not cut off at age 17. You can definitely continue to use it.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Well, if that's it for feedback, let's take a 5-minute break, everybody. After that, we've got Cabros, and then we've got Arizona Compassion after that. So just go ahead and take a break, and we'll be back here shortly.
All right, thank you guys so much.
Thank you. Great work. Great presentation. All right, so we're only a little bit behind today. That's good. All right, Kevin, are you ready to present?
I am indeed.
Good. For stepping
Ready?
up, let me get the timer set for you. Make sure we've got all the judges back here before we get started.
Should I share my screen now?
Yeah,
Okay.
go ahead and cue it up. And I think we're just missing Rich so far.
I'm back.
All right. All right, Kevin, the floor is yours.
Okay. All right. Hi, everybody. I'm Kevin Kansas. My teammate Arnab Kabir and I are very excited to present to you our new business idea, Exceptional, which is a service that would provide new special education teachers with the opportunity to have senior special education teachers be their mentors. And we would also provide them with online resources and a community where they can interact and better their skills as teachers. We also hope to, in the future, become a major education think tank and policy advocate. So what's the actual problem that we're trying to solve? There is a massive special education teacher shortage currently in our nation, and most state governments have decided to put general education teachers through abridged certification programs and as the solution to that, or to help remedy it. But this causes another issue, that most new special education teachers that are coming in aren't properly certified to actually teach students with disabilities. As you can see from this graph,
okay, look.
As you can see from this graph right here, 62% of the new teachers in California in the 2017-18 year weren't properly qualified and use some other form of credentials in order to be able to teach. So how many of these teachers or unqualified teachers are there? So in the US currently, there's 437,000 special education teachers, but most of those are properly qualified, about 80%. But there's also 250,000 paraprofessionals that aren't properly qualified, but are needed to step in to these kinds of roles. And there's also many teachers that are training to become certified for special education. And so that would be our target market. And due to the nature of our website, our available market wouldn't be limited by geographical reach, but our obtainable market would, as most of our sales would have to be done in person to superintendents of districts or principals. And so that would cut down our available market, but not by much, especially in later years. So here's our solution. So by providing underqualified teachers, paraprofessionals, and special education teachers with this mentorship program and this community where they can talk and use resources, we hope to improve their skills. And by going through our network, we hope that they'll come out better teachers than before, which will lead to happier and more educated students with disabilities. So here's our strategy. So first, obviously, we're going to develop the website. We're going to beta test it right here in Arizona, and using our knobs connections with Grand Canyon Institute and the Arizona branch for Stanford Children, we hope to find people to help us beta test it, as well as people to use it right at launch. And then after that, we hope to sell directly to school districts and use some money for online advertisements to gain attention to our service. So for the first year, we are planning on just focusing on Arizona and really establishing ourselves here and getting a little more stabilized. But starting in our second year, we hope to expand to other states like California and Texas and New Mexico. And our third year, maybe start expanding up north to Nevada, Utah, and Colorado, maybe even Oregon and Washington, as well as start our think tank and policy advocate stuff in the third year. So our revenue model, we're going to charge a $60 monthly mentor subscription fee. which seems steep at first, but it's actually quite generous when compared to our competitors, but I'll get to that later. And we'll also charge a $10 per month resource subscription. Now, if you pay the $60 one, or the $10 a month one is included in the $60 one, but this is to give our service a little more versatility. So if they just want access to the community and the resources that we'll provide, they can just buy those instead of committing to a mentorship, which is a time investment. Our customer acquisition costs we've estimated to be about $50. Now that's because of the cost to get a new customer and marketing, as well as paying mentors for their time, the senior special education teachers, which we do plan on doing. And our attrition rate is expected to be pretty high the first year, but this is because of the nature of special education teaching as a job. It itself has an attrition rate of 13%, because a lot of education or special education teachers are opting to stop special educating. But studies have shown that mentorship improves retention in our job retention. So we're hoping that through our service, that rate will lower, as well as our personal attrition rate. So our management team, so who's running this? So it is me, Kevin Kansas, and my teammate, Arnab Kabir. Now, none of us have any business experience, but we both have, we're both high school seniors. We recently graduated, so we have a high school education. Arnab has diligently researched educational policy and done many projects about it in the past, and he has connections to educational organizations. And I myself have researched the effectiveness of game-based learning for almost an entire year this past year. And we're both passionate about this idea, and we think we can make it work. In the future, we plan on adding a design web expert, as well as an educational expert to our team. So now into the competition, or as I like to call them, next week's chopped liver. Our main competitor is New Teacher Center's EMSS program. And they have a very similar mentoring service to us, where they connect new special education teachers to older ones, or ones with more experience who are properly certified. And they have a little bit of experience on us. They've been in the market for about 10 years. But our plan to circumvent them is to actually ignore them. Their main holds on the market are in Kansas, Oklahoma, New York, Illinois, and Florida. So if we just focus on different states, we won't have to interact with them at all. But even if we do, our service is cheaper. They charge $1,200 upfront for a mentoring service, as well as other classes that are about $150 to $200. And our service also has more versatility. As I mentioned before, mentorship is a time investment, and that's what they focus on. So we have a little bit of leeway on that. Now it's time to talk about financials, but first I have to say the magic word, lamb sauce, which will bring us to this very beautiful P&L statement that my teammate Arnab Kabir made. As you can see here, our plan is for every 3 months, we'll focus on a new school district. And these first ones, Amphitheater Unified District and Scottsdale Unified District, are the ones that we found to have the most paraprofessionals and the most available customers for our service. In terms of investments, we were hoping to get about $20,000. This is to develop the website, as well as start developing those online resources that we talked about earlier. Our return of sales, as you can see, is negative for our first 3 years, if you focus your attention here. But as a nonprofit, we're hoping to run on donations, and by our 4th year, we'll be completely self-sufficient. Yes, that is all. Oh, whoops, hold on. Oh gosh. I would like to take this opportunity to thank all our mentors and for listening to our presentation. Thank you.
Very nice. Great work. With 1 minute left to spare, that is efficiency. So judges, do you want to go into questions?
Sure, I can start. So thank you so much for that amazing presentation. You certainly spot a big pain for this audience. I was wondering, I was not clear about how you're going to recruit your mentors or how you are going to make sure they are prepared and they have the skills to address the issues that your audience, your target market will be facing.
Okay, that's an excellent question. So in terms of finding the mentors, that'll be part of what the online advertisements do. Since we're planning on paying the mentors for their time, as makes sense, we're hoping that that serves as an incentive to bring them in. And using Grand Canyon Institute or using our knobs connections to Grand Canyon Institute and the Arizona branch for Stanford Children, we're hoping that we can vet check and find several certified mentors for our program.
How many do you think you'd be needing to start?
To begin, well, we'll need about 1 per teacher using our service, so quite a bit. At launch, maybe about 30 at launch, and hopefully increasing rapidly.
I have another question, but I know I have to leave time to the other judges. But if you can you compare the price of your solution with the money that schools are currently spending in the next alternative? I know you said it was cheaper, but it was not clear how much cheaper compared to your competitors or to the next alternative. And I'm done.
All right. Well, I'm very glad you asked me that question, actually. So our service is worth about 2 years of our main competitor's service. So yeah, it's worth about 20 months of their service because they have an upfront cost of $1,200, and we have a monthly subscription. So if they find that the mentorship isn't working out, they can cancel. That would save them a lot of money. But it's worth about the same value as 2 years.
Okay, hey, this is Rich Simonsek. Hey, thank you. Well done on the presentation. I had a question on what would you pay the mentors to be part of the service, and with the severe lack of qualified or educators in this particular field, it seems like many of these people are quite stretched out. And just how much time do you think you can get from them, and what would be the cost of that time?
So we're hoping that we can get them at least, well, up at the start, we're hoping we can get at least an hour a week between the mentors and their mentees. And then, we'll pay the mentors hourly for their service. We're thinking that would be a fraction of our subscription, about $30, maybe $40. But in the future, we hope that there'll even be extra things like the ability to shadow a mentor's classroom to see how they work up front and what they can do to learn and improve their own strategies.
And will the mentees or the users of the service be limited in terms of how many hours per month that they can use the service? Will they be timed out after 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours? How much time do they get per month?
We wouldn't want to put a physical limit on their hours. I think that would depend on the mentors themselves and how available they are. But us as a company would never put an actual limit on them.
Okay, because I'm just trying to do the math in terms of revenue and cost of that revenue. So if you pay the mentor $40 an hour and they have unlimited hours, and then the user is only paying $60 a month, then it doesn't seem like you have a financial model then, or a revenue stream that pays for the service.
That's a good point. I think that's something that we're gonna have to look into and figure out as we work out the kinks for this. Yeah, I don't really have an answer to that.
No, it's okay. You know, it's great. It's you know, it's the first rule of business. You know, it's no profitless prosperity. It has to make money. So it's great that you're looking at it and thinking about it, and we'll look at that. Thank you.
All right, any other pieces of feedback before we bring up, gosh, Arizona Compassion was just emailing me too, and they might not be up. So,
so I have a question, if I may.
Please.
So piggybacking on what Rich said, I see that. I mean, the idea is wonderful. The reason why the country is suffering from a shortage of these teachers is a lot of it is burnout, I suppose. So, you know, I worry about, you know, how many hours you could get from a mentor, maybe 10 hours a week, even that may be too much, you know, mentoring 10 different people if the subscribers get 1 hour a week of mentoring. Is there like a different scale where you could have people pay different subscriptions to have 2 hours a week of mentoring, and then there would be 2 mentors with them? The other thing I was thinking about is, since there is this burnout, would it be sensible to also approach retired special education teachers? They may want that form of income, you know, and they will be much more flexible on time, maybe, you know, if they still want to work in a less burnout kind of environment. So just a thought.
And thank you for sharing that. I think those are both excellent feedback points. I'm glad you said that. I'll definitely put that into account.
Very nice. Well, thank you so much, Kevin. That was awesome. Way to step up. That was so good. I'm so proud of what you put together and presented to us. So thank you. You guys, Arizona Compassion had something come up, so we are going to skip over to Victory Communities. Are you guys ready to go? Can we get you queued up?
Hey there, this is Robert. I'm not sure we're quite ready. Could we have a couple of minutes to make sure we have everyone online?
Sure, yeah, go ahead. We're running a little bit early. We had a car accident happen with Arizona Compassion, so they are having to, you know, try and reschedule for tomorrow.
Oh no, okay. I saw Kemuel there. Jackson's here. Shaylee, are you there?
Yes.
Hello.
Hi guys. Thanks for stepping up. Sorry about that. It was I just got that email 2 minutes ago, so.
Okay. Are we ready?
Yeah, sure, whenever you're ready.
Yes. Hi, I'm Shaylee Ringenbach. Oh. Where's this one? Okay. Hi, I'm Shaylee Ringenbach. I'm going to be a junior at Desert Vista High School, and I'm a part of Victory Communities. This is our team.
Thank you all for joining today. My name is Kemuel Phillips. I'm a junior at ASU Prep, and I'm a part of Victory Communities.
Hello everyone, my name is Jackson Sinner, and I will be a junior at Chaparral High School. I am also a member of Victory Communities alongside my brother. Okay, so what if every time you were talking to someone new, or just your friend?
I'm so sorry. I hate to jump in, but Jackson, we're having a really hard time hearing you. At least I am on my end. It's very, very quiet. I don't know if you can turn up the volume at all, the mic. Yeah, Dominique can't hear either. I'm sorry about that.
Okay, it's fine. Show you on.
Hold on, let me try and hit it. There, do it like this. That should work.
All right. Can you guys hear me now?
Yes, that's much clearer. Thank you.
All right. Yeah, of course. Okay. So I have to start over then. All right. All right. So hello everyone. My name is Jackson Sinek, and this year I will be a junior at Chaparral High School. I am also a member of Victory Communities. Okay. So what if every time you tried to meet, you were talking to someone or just your friend, just your one of your good friends, you got nervous, or your palms got, or you stuttered, what would happen? It would be really hard to make new friends and keep the friends that you already have. This condition, known as social anxiety disorder, has afflicted me for 5 or so years. So I joined Victory Communities to help others with my condition and conditions like it. And now may I present Camille Phillips from Victory Communities.
Thank you. Next slide, please. Next slide. Before we begin, I would like to share with you my personal experience. In elementary school, I found out I had attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, also known as ADHD, which means I struggle with focus and self-control. Although medication was an option for my parents, they decided to take a different approach. So I attended brain core therapy, counseling, and did sports. Next slide, please. Personal experience. This is help methods. Victory Communities will provide the same opportunities for people so they can be, so medication was an option for my parents and for people so they can be successful. Now, for the problems I've identified, those are healthcare disparities, economic, and so I attended. Can you believe that 1 in 4 American adults with a disability? Now, for the problems we have in rates and lack of access to health issue, and 53% more likely to be obese. 40% of, can you believe that 1 in 4 Americans are more likely to autism spectrum disorder, also known as ASD, have social anxiety disorder. They are 3 times more likely to make less than $15,000 and deal with 5 times higher healthcare costs. It's unfair that 81% of persons that are that adults with a disability are unemployed, and 50% lower than the typical employment rate. They deal with transportation barriers, are not covered by insurance, and there are limited programs for persons with a disability. So with access to free physical and mental health wellness that is nature-based, together our virtual communities, we are able to help 1 in 4 American adults conquer the challenges that they face. Next slide, please. As you can see, there are 4.9 million persons with intellectual developmental disability, also known as IDD, and 21 million with social anxiety disorder, also known as SAD, in the US. 85% of these persons are unemployed, and nearly 80,000 with IDD live in Metro Phoenix, and 4.2 million in the US as a whole. At Victory Communities, 400 persons with IDD and 200 persons with SAD will be the 0.2% of our market. Next slide. Our solution is nature-based therapy. We have 3 distinctive activities for visitors to unlock. First of them is Leaders with Leaders, that allow building relationships with people and pets. This activity incorporates 12 minutes with a well-trained dog involving walking on ample trails that reduces anxiety in clients with autism spectrum disorder, and will increase their social skills. Health costs are decreased due to our income from pet or doggy daycare. Second is farm animal assisted in horticulture. This incorporates feeding, grooming, and petting that also improves brain functioning, healthcare costs, and increases social behaviors in visitors with ASD and IBD. Other features. Second is farm animal that also improves brain functioning. Planting, watering, and weeding increases clients' physical activity. And last is virtual cognitive behavioral therapy. The benefits of cognitive behavioral therapy are that it modifies thought patterns in order to change mood and behavior of clients. Imagine that what we are providing with the therapy is available to all our clients, allowing them to experience unique practices through mock social situations and with their personal virtual headset. Virtual cognitive behavioral therapy is non-pharmacological, meaning medication isn't used for helping our clients. Cost will be a benefit, being $2 per month, and virtual cognitive behavioral therapy will help increase comfort and access while decreasing depression and increasing coping for all of us. Next slide, please. Our market strategy is business to business to consumer and business to consumer. Online markets such as Kinsia, Arizona.gov, and Sharing Down Syndrome will help us with our market strategy.
One of the things you're probably really interested in is how we make money. We will make money by having dog walking and dog daycare, selling eggs and vegetables, and also having virtual subscriptions. Imagine you are on a farm planting tomatoes, picking green beans, selling them, and taking care of chickens and finding and selling their eggs. This will be great exercise, and it will also be fun for the adults with disabilities. Not only are we making money, but we are saving money. We will save money by partnering with the 4-H Club of Queen Creek for gardening and animal care, and we will also work with Kinsia staff, churches, students, and volunteers. This is relevant now because during the current pandemic, there is a need for dog walking and daycare when people go back to work due to the increase in dog ownership. There's a need for healthy, inexpensive food due to the loss of jobs, and there's a need for increasing online care to limit COVID-19 exposure. We know we can do this because I have 7 years of experience with pet therapy with special needs children. Other advisors have experience partnering with 4-H clubs, and there's evidence that virtual therapy works. Our goals are to increase dog walking clients, grow and sell produce and eggs and increase partnerships, and develop an app and beta test it. As you can see, we propose to break even almost every year or profit a little, which we will invest back into Victory communities. You were introduced to the high school students in the beginning of the presentation, and while we all have different backgrounds, we all have a passion for helping adults with disabilities. This project has been made possible with the help of the community partners listed, specifically Kinsia. As you can see from our competitive analysis, there are not any other nature-based therapy programs in Arizona. There are only 3 other programs that work with adults. There are not any other programs that work with intellectual, developmental disabilities, and autism spectrum disorder. Only 1 other program is self-sustaining. Lastly, we are the only program that includes horticulture, farm animals, canines, and virtual options. This is so important to me because I participated in the Best Buddies Club in high school, and I was partnered with Sarah, who has Down syndrome. She just turned 21 and aged out of high school, and she still calls me every day because there are very few options for therapy for adults with disabilities. We are so excited to announce that the farmland for our nature-based therapy was purchased 1 week ago. Also, construction of the greenhouses and community gardens at the group homes are targeted to commence at the beginning of 2021. For our virtual-based milestones, we are going to have partnerships with ASU, beta app release, video creation, and reach 200 net new monthly subscribers by the end of 2021. Do you have any questions?
All right, judges.
All right. So I'll start here. First of all, I love a simple model that's easy to understand. And I love it when you list your relevant experience. And that hit me over the head of how much experience you have in this particular market. And the other thing I'll say is I'm pretty sure I'm the only person on this Zoom call that knows what 4-H stands for, since I grew up in the country in Pennsylvania. So, and I'd quiz my other judges to see if they actually understand what 4-H stands for and what it is. But that made a lot of sense to me. The slide that also resonated was your competitive slide, is you actually looked at everybody else getting involved in this, what they're doing and why you're different. And that's compelling. If I were to tell you to do one thing, you've got too much data on your slides. They're too filled with facts and bullet points, and I had a hard time reading them. So I stopped looking at the slides and I just listened. And I like what I heard, but remember that your deck is going to be your leave behind. And if it's too busy with too much information, what exactly are you trying to leave behind that is going to resonate with me? I remember what you said, but if you leave me this deck, I'm going to have a hard time sorting it out.
Thank you for your feedback, sir.
And I take it that none of my fellow judges know what 4-H stands for.
No, I grew up in New York.
I moved here a year ago from Puerto Rico. No, I don't know. So please.
4-H stands for health, heart, hands, and healing.
Amazing. Amazing. So I love the presentation. Okay. I love, as Ron said, the simple model. I think you have enough evidence here to prove that what you're trying to pursue, it's not only doable, but very beneficial for your target market. But I would like you to talk a little bit more about your financial model. How you're going to make this happen, but also how you're going to sustain. I saw the numbers, but how actually are you going to keep building on that financial models? I know you're going to do the dog walking. How many customers do you need to actually get to those numbers? And how many X do you need to sell? And how many inputs or resources you need to make this happen?
Start off, Kinsea is going to help us manage our financials, and we're going to start off with just selling as many eggs as we can and gardening and making sure we have enough people to get more money.
Good, thank you.
So and then also on the virtual side, we are targeting 100 virtual customers, and they're each going to pay us $2 a month. Yes.
So you said something interesting during the presentation. You said many things interesting, but this one really caught my ear. You purchased farmland for the program last month? Can you talk about that a bit?
Kinsea helped us buy farmland, and it was just purchased, so we're excited to get started soon.
So will you have people with disabilities coming out to that farmland for therapies, or how does that work? There's a virtual side of this, and then there's the physical side, correct?
Yes, we're expecting people to come to the farm and help us work out there, and we're also going to have some people live there if they want to, and then they can be more involved and help with the farming and the dog walking services.
And then also on the virtual side, we also want to provide therapy for anyone, anywhere, anytime, so they can continue their necessary treatment.
Okay.
How would you be providing the therapy through the app?
Well, we have a VR part, which we can provide with them, and then the way we're going to make that work is we're going to provide them with mock social situations so they can go through them, and we'll provide them with the word, like suggestions to say and whatnot. And then also, if they don't want to do VR, we also provide them with videos that they can use. And then those videos will also provide suggestions.
Great, thank you. And in terms of the farm, you're going to also have people who know about farming help you?
Yes, 4-H can help us with that. And we also were thinking about doing something like Best Buddies, so we can partner typical people with the person with Down syndrome, and then we can go out and help them garden and help them with the dogs, and we can double check that they're doing everything right, and we can make sure they have all the help they need.
So one part I really liked was the dog walking, but also doggy daycare. So is that going to be done at that plot of land that you bought for the farm? Is there going to be like a separate area, like with dog runs or whatever?
Yes, there's going to be a separate area for the dogs.
And that's also where kids can come and be petting the dogs, or do those dogs have to be trained? Would that be different dogs?
I think they would be different dogs. Like we could bring in service dogs, or we could bring in therapy dogs. Like I have my own therapy dog, and so I could bring her in one day and they could pet her, but we wouldn't have the kids meet the dogs we're watching.
I see. Thank you.
All right, any questions? Any other questions for the team? All right, well, you guys, great job. You guys are also confident. It's impressive. Let's move on to the next team. We've got Cool Name Pending.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Great work.
Okay, so Daniela's sharing the screen right now. Okay, are we ready to start?
Actually,
Awesome.
if I could just interrupt for a moment here. We didn't get a chance to properly introduce the judges at the beginning, and if I could just take a couple of minutes. We have Eva Vasquez joins us. She is the director of the Global Family Office Entrepreneurship Program at Thunderbird, which is now part of ASU. And she's proudly displaying the new building that's being built in downtown Phoenix as her background. Also joining us as a judge is Ron Remy. Ron and I have started companies together. We've been in multiple startups together. And we were commenting privately about the fact that many of these presentations, most of these presentations, are better than the VC pitches that we did back in our day. Ron is the CEO of Mobile Heartbeat, which a few years ago was acquired by Hospital Corporation of America, which is the largest hospital group in the United States. He now continues to be CEO of Mobile Heartbeat, but is also an executive with HCA. So he has been at the front and center of everything that's been going on with COVID. Finally, we have Rich Simonsek, another old friend of mine. Rich is the vice president of the Analog Products Division of Microchip, the largest company in Arizona. So with that, turn it back over to presentation.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks.
So I think we gotta start screen sharing real quick. Okay, awesome. Everyone can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. Just making sure. So hi, I'm Brianna Inoni, and my partner is Daniela Sendra. We are team Cool Name Pending. I know, not our most clever name, but we are the founders of All Minds Can Play. I want to introduce my friend Jackson. He can't control many things in his life. He was diagnosed with cerebral palsy, which has limited certain abilities. Fine motor skills, his vision, and his speech. He cannot grasp things well and has trouble operating toys meant for children his age. For a child like Jackson, the key to unlocking the brain from the body's bondage might be a dancing robot or a musical train. Specially adapted toys allowed Jackson his first taste of being in control and provoked his first words, "See, car, go." In the future, adapted toys may be just what he needs to communicate in school. All Minds Can Play is an exciting startup company that provides subscription service for adaptive and sensory toys to rent, purchase, or surprise. All Minds Can Play serves minds and bodies of all kinds by making sensory and adapted toys more accessible and affordable for caregivers. We make a wider range of toys accessible for a wider range of abilities, and in doing so, give more people the chance to get the most out of the toy independently. All Minds Can Play believes everybody should have the opportunity to play. We make toys, we make joy, we educate and put smiles on people's faces, one toy at a time, because everyone deserves to have fun and learn from play. Most people living with special needs have extra medical and therapeutic expenses. Adapted toys cost 4 to 6 times more the cost of the original toy. These toys often need expensive switches to trigger the toy, which usually cuts into caregiving expenses. But toys are one of the most important aspects to people's educational development. Educational toys can help develop problem-solving skills, teach about conflict resolution and how cause and effect principles work. They also teach people about sharing, helps develop their fine and gross motor skills, and nurtures their creativity and imagination. But Jackson and other people living with disabilities sometimes not get the most out of the toy due to their abilities. Having a range of adaptive and sensory toys accessible is beneficial for the differently abled community. As Jackson ages, most toys are geared towards toddlers, at least in the adapted range. There are rarely any big kid options out there. On top of all of this, Jackson's parents can't just walk into any store and buy an adapted toy. They usually have to be special ordered online. All Minds Can Play hopes to help families like Jackson's by making a wider range of adaptive and sensory toys more affordable and accessible by offering a toy rental subscription service. For an affordable price, families can go online and select toys to be sent to them and they can return them. We'll make the toys more affordable because we will have our own team of plate designers to adapt them. We will make relationships with toy production companies so we can purchase toy items in bulk at a better price. And because the toys are being rented, the cost and the love of the toy is being spread amongst customers. For the same reasons, it will be affordable for All Minds Can Play to adapt a large range of toys for a large range of abilities. Some children will need a Switch. Most children will already have a Switch that suits their needs, but All Minds Can Play will make Switches to sell. The children will have a physical library to visit too, but the majority of the transactions will be done on our online platform. But we like having that option for parents to be able to walk in and rent or buy a toy on the spot. Our main market segment focus is business to customer, but we also focus on business to business. Our key markets are parents and families, special educational professionals, occupational and speech therapists, and care organizations. 938,911 people in Arizona live with some type of cognitive or physical disability. 1 out of 6 children are born with some developmental disability. All Minds Can Play can provide a service or product that is needed for this underserved and underrepresented market segment. All Minds Can Play will use a push market strategy. Marketing will start with a great online and app platform. All Minds Can Play will visit many support groups for various disabilities, and we think word of mouth will be a huge part of our success. We will place flyers at offices of developmental pediatricians, occupational and speech therapists. In addition, All Minds Can Play will be reaching out and building relationships with organizations focused around disabilities. This, of course, will create more foot traffic due to parents and partners being aware of the company. All Minds Can Play will encourage and actively participate in partnerships and work with the community. So how is this going to work? All Minds Can Play will generate revenue through a combination of subscriptions and product sales. There will be an annual membership fee of $20, which will give members access to All Minds Can Play's exclusive online and app platform. Once signed up, customers will complete a profile providing key information such as age, likes, dislikes, interests, and abilities. This will allow All Minds Can Play to identify the perfect toy options to align with a member's profile. Members can choose 1, 2, or 3 options. Option A, the member can select up to 2 toys a month from our vast selection of toys to rent. The cost is $30 a month. It is an additional $10 for each additional toy. Our max is 5. Members can pick toys out, or All Minds Can Play will pick toys based off their profile. Option B, the member can buy toys directly from our vast selection of toys in our store, or even put in a special toy request to be built. Cost depends on the toy and the labor to adopt it. Option C, so this one's my favorite option. This is prize option. For only $50 a month, the member participates in a monthly toy surprise, where they receive a new toy each month. The toy is selected and built specifically to the needs of the member's profile. The toy arrives gift wrapped each month, giving a new special experience every month. Not only do they get to enjoy the anticipation and the excitement of opening the surprise, they also get a great toy aligned with their profile. All Minds Can Play will begin focusing on development of proprietary software, product development, marketing strategy, and developing partnerships. We will create a nonprofit foundation during this time. All Minds Can Play will significantly increase its membership and product offerings to increase sales. Once we get about 10,000 members, we will look to expand locations, develop an organizational system for kids living with learning disabilities, and start a toy line called Buddy Like Me, which will include dolls, action heroes, Lego figures, and bears with physical disabilities, hearing aids, wheelchairs, and we will be able to personalize these toys upon request. So up on the screen, we have our 3-year outlook. Membership is very important to us because it will increase our revenue. From year-end 2021 to year-end 2023, our membership is expected to grow by 72%. This increase in membership will help us grow our revenue by 334%. Our total revenue is expected to be about $4.1 million for a 3-year time period. Due to our business model, we are also able to reduce our cost of goods sold because we will continue to reuse the product and get better at making it. We will go from 31% to 26% as we increase in size. We'll continue to be able to lower the cost due to being able to buy in bulk. Total net profit over the 3-year period will be about $650,000. All Minds Can Play is founded and run by myself as the CEO and Daniela as the VP of Marketing and Sales. We'll have 5 part-time employees in the beginning helping us develop the toys and distribution. I've worked extensively with children living with developmental delays and physical challenges. I've experienced adapting toys, and I've donated adapted toys that are used in school curriculums, and I'm studying business administration and minoring in sustainability. My partner, Daniela, she also brings an extensive background in Montessori preschool and is familiar with learning styles of children and educational toys and activities. She's studying childhood education. As the company continues to grow over time, we'll add positions to the executive management team to ensure success. There are currently no adapted toy libraries in Arizona and no subscription and rental adapted toy companies in the US. There are very few online companies that adapt toys, but no options for rentals. Southwest Human Development Agency rents technology for kids living with disabilities. Replay for Kids is a store that will fix adapted toys, adapt toys, and teach people how to adapt toys. As for opportunities, Arizona has no store a caregiver can just walk in and buy an adapted toy. That's going to be our competitive edge we can offer, the chance to walk into the store and take home a toy that day to their loved one. All Minds Can Play's competitive edge is a combination of its offerings: the profile software toy selector, the subscription and the rental options, and the pricing significantly set us apart. The number of toys and age groups of toys we will adapt will also set us apart from the competition. All Minds Can Play will focus on toys that everyone wants to play with and have fun with. As you know, successful companies do not only make money, they have an impact on their community. All Minds Can Play's goal is to provide people with physical and/or developmental challenges an opportunity to play and have fun like others at an affordable price. We are requesting an investment of $150,000. In return, we will give you 10% ownership of All Minds Can Play. This investment will be used to purchase and develop toy inventory, develop our website, app and proprietary software, We'll also use this money for initial sales and marketing and to ensure that we have enough cash on hand to get this company to a point of profitability. Partner with All Minds Can Play in toy making, joy making, educating, and focusing on putting smiles on people's faces, one toy at a time, because everyone deserves to have fun and learn from play. Thank you.
Great work. Judges, questions? And after this, by the way, while we're getting everything together, we will have a 5-minute break, and then it's Operation Leave No One Behind up after that. So I will go ahead and start the 5-minute timer for the judges.
Hey, this is Rich Simonsek. Awesome idea. You were presenting, I was looking up adaptive toy companies. Your options are also interesting. Although this is for children, our children are all gone, and my wife has a little puppy, and she gets a bark box every month for the dog, and she pays about $35 a month to get new toys for her dog every month, which is as ridiculous as that may sound. So the question is, with the surprise and a number of age brackets and different needs, it seems that there would be a large inventory need to do a surprise toy or different toys. Have you taken into account the inventory or the startup needs in terms of different types of products you would have to have on a shelf?
So I'm taking upon thinking that we're going to have a team of play designers. We hope to buy like toys in bulk. Therefore, the price automatically goes down significantly, and we're going to adapt the toys ourselves. So when like the breakdown of the toy like this costs about $12. This part costs about $2, and then it goes 2 to 4 times up based off of only adding this little wire. Usually the toys don't even come with a button, so you have to buy that separately. So what we're thinking to have this big inventory influx is our go-to option is going to be buying in bulk and adapting the toys ourselves. Otherwise, for the surprise toy, we're either going to pick maybe 2 or 3 toys a month that we can buy in bulk, and like right before it, and we do pre-sale maybe instead to make sure that we're not overbuying. We just want to make sure that we're cautious about that one. If it doesn't work out, we will cut off the surprise toy for the first 3 years and go off the first 2 options and add that on later when we are more stable.
Okay. And then have you also looked at a model where you may work with other adaptive toy companies and provide the service, and so you consolidate a number of different manufacturers that may support or provide you with a virtual type inventory?
Yes, we would absolutely love to. Like, there's a lot of small adapted toy companies. We would absolutely love to partner with them because, of course, they know more. I've worked specifically with a bunch of adapted toy companies that work off of Etsy, and I know that sounds really silly, but they know a lot in this field. And even those little partnerships will be very beneficial for us because we want to get better and we want our team to get better.
Okay. Hey, thank you. Very good.
No, thank you.
All right. So the first thing is the fact that you just did our first live demo by holding up a toy to Rich's question and answering his question and actually putting numbers behind your demo, gets you amazing brownie points. A couple things of note is that I love the club concept. The fact the rental, I call it a club concept. It's the adaptive toy club. What I didn't love was the rental concept. I mean, here we are 6 months ago. That was the most exciting thing to be in the sharing economy. And now 6 months later, no one can share anything. So that's got to leave your pitch. You can't share toys. You just can't. Parents will freak out over any toys that are shared between families. So that's got to be removed. But the one part of this that I loved, and I'm really bad at naming things, but I think I got a name for you, is your story first got everybody engaged. I mentioned this to another team. That story gets people listening. And I've got the name for Cool Name Pending. It's really clear. It's C Cargo. It has to be the name of your business going forward. So good job. I really love this idea. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
That was amazing. And Ron, I completely understand the rental side, but I love the $50 a month tier. That was amazing. As a mom, my son is 8 years old, and he loves to receive those kind of surprises. And certainly if they are toys, even better. So you got me. Amazing presentation, a very clear business model. And even though some of those components may not work today, I think it was well thought. And you still have components that will work very good. Just as Ron said, the fact that you had the toy, that you actually understood the problem. For me, you got me at the problem side. You proved that you understood the problem and that you have all the facts together. So the whole presentation was amazing. I don't have questions, but I really wanted to congratulate you. Lots of passion. I think it was it's an amazing problem to solve. As a mom, I was there like, oh my God, yes, I would love to have my kid involved in that sort of initiative. So again, great job.
Thank you so much. And going off of what you were saying about the coronavirus, the rental aspect's been really hard. Well, of course, I'm hoping the coronavirus isn't going to last forever. But once we are out of that stage of being kind of scared of sharing things, being together, we're hoping to come up with a disinfection process so we can potentially rent toys out. But as of right now, I totally get it. It is not a clear field right now.
Great answer. Great answer.
Great answer. And then there's some, like for example, I have bought Legos that use Legos through Amazon, and they explain you how they actually sanitize those toys. So there's a way to do that. There's people doing that. Of course, we are kind of hysterical right now with the coronavirus, but certainly a great answer. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, already UV light has proven to be quite effective with coronavirus. So, I mean, there are methods that you can use. Maybe you wouldn't have the market right now because of the worry, but there is, you know, plenty of indication that it's safe when you do use these sanitizing methods. And the other thing I was thinking, I just love the idea of you designing custom toys with the input of maybe a parent or a caregiver or even the kid, because that actually will broaden your array of toys. You know, when you see the success, when you get the feedback, and then that custom toy can be a toy that is a surprise toy in the next, you know, year or something. So I love that forward thinking, and I love the input that brings from the people who know these children as well. Obviously, so do you, and that's why you thought of it. Good job.
I really like, the thing about adapted toys is you have to see it to totally understand and why it's important. I remember I brought, I think, about 80 adapted toys to a school, and we're kind of doing the renting process with the special education teachers. So they would rent out a toy and bring it back, and just walking in and putting everything up, just the kids were so excited. I swear every toy was on the ground. I also set up like a little mini kitchen for them to practice their people skills with, and immediately I had this boy, he was like, you need to sit down right now. And he had me sit down, he gave me a menu, and then he did this whole thing, cooked me this little cute meal. But like just sitting there and seeing what these toys and activities can do to them is beyond amazing. And this is why I think this would be really successful. And the parents are absolutely excited to see that their child's getting the opportunity.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think it's marvelous. Great, great job.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, that was absolutely incredible. Great presentation. So well done. I think if we don't have any more questions from the judges, that we're going to take a quick 5-minute break, and then we have the last presentation, which we're all very excited about. Judges? All right, let's take a quick 5-minute break, and we'll be right back with Operation Leave No Trace. Great work, girls. Great work. All right, we have one team left. Let's wait for everyone to pile back in. All right, we've got 2 out of 3 judges. I know Ron is going to have to leave a little bit early today, but he will be sent the rest of the video for this presentation. So if he does have to leave early, then he will still be able to see that. So let me see if he's in. All right. All right, let's just go ahead and get started whenever you guys are ready. Take your time queuing up and everything. I'm not sure if he's gonna make it back, so. All right, and you guys, this is Operation Leave No One Behind.
All right, hi, my name is Mason Thomas. Sorry about that. All right, here we go. I'm working with my partners Arjun Sakar and Alex Demarche, and we're working with the organization Operation Leave No One Behind. So our mission is to provide work-based learning to developmentally disabled students. All right, so the first problem that we want to address and that we've noticed and that a few other groups have talked about is that special ed students really don't have a lot of job prospects. As you can see, there's an 85% unemployment rate for these students and adults. And there's even a 20% lower graduation rate than the neurotypical student. And both of these are due to the fact that there's not much work-based learning in schools. So the next problem is that the special education teachers and staff have a lot of constraints, and it's a lot more difficult for them to make progress and teach these students. For example, there's a lot of high turnover, not a lot of teachers that are very capable and have a lot of experience. So it's just not a great system, and they're not able to learn a lot about work-based learning and have a lot of opportunities. And each student has much more complicated issues than the average student, and they need individual case management. So our solution is that we're providing social entrepreneurial mentors. For example, at Chaparral High School, I'm our DECA president. Alex and Arjun both work with DECA as well. They're both in it. So we thought it'd be a great idea to pair our DECA members with the special education students at Chaparral, providing one-on-one experience, which helps them learn a lot better. Right here on the left is Barrett, as you can see. She's working with Operation Leave No One Behind, and it's really awesome just to see how excited she is to have the opportunity to work with us and be able to get out of the house. She's graduated high school. She has a lot less opportunities to just do things like this. And it's really great to see the look on her face every time she gets to join us. And then right here on the right is Emma Thurell. She's also working with Operation Leave No One Behind. She's developmentally disabled. She has cerebral palsy, and she's also working with Operation Leave No One Behind. She has more of an advisor role and works with Alex, Arjun, and I one-on-one. She's been working with us the past few months, and she's really highly functioning. She does a lot of stuff behind the scenes, and she can even often mentor other students like Barrett right here. So it's really just an example of what a lot of the students are able to do when given the right opportunity. So another aspect of Operation Leave No One Behind is that we have a triple bottom line effect. We have a social impact, giving a lot of these students new opportunities for work-based learning. And then we have an economic impact inside our community, generating sales, new revenue, and providing customers with great products. And our third impact is an environmental impact that I'll talk about a little bit later. So our first product here is our CSA bags. There's a picture right there. The orange bags have produce sourced from local farms. So we actually get a better rate, and we're able to sell them for much cheaper inside our schools. So we have CSA Squared, Community Supported Agriculture and Arts. The bags are the agriculture, and then our other two products are note cards and jewelry. The note cards have inspirational messages and are about $5 for a box of them. They've sold greatly. The next is we have two pieces of jewelry. We have two necklaces that are both amazing. We've received great feedback about both pieces of jewelry, and they're both great. Here we go. So we've done a little bit of market research. We've actually began and launched at Chaparral High School and Cocopah Middle School, and we've seen that there is a strong existing demand for local produce in both of these areas. And we believe that there's a demand for local produce in many other areas that we'd love to grow into. So we also are generating more sales as we build partnerships and relationships with other clubs, such as we've partnered with cheer, the baseball team, the robotics club, and French Honor Society, just to develop a little bit more sales. So our environmental impact, we've partnered with Duncan Family Farms and Sun Produce Co-op to reduce food waste. Then we also create additional sales channels for small and mid-sized local farms. This area is something that Kinsea Social Enterprise is helping us a lot with. Just partnering with the farms is something that's it's a bit of a harder task for us. So we have a long-lasting relationship with Kinsea, and they've helped us greatly. We've been working with them for quite some time, and we really have a great relationship with them. So it helps Operation Leave No One Behind a lot. Our next topic is our scalability. Our business is extremely unique because it's very self-sustaining, so that all the money that we receive just goes straight back into Operation Leave No One Behind. We require zero donations because we're offering products where we can make money. So then it just keeps the project ongoing even further. So we believe that this is very replicable, so that all schools in SUSD will soon be able to offer something similar to this. And then we'd love to expand to many more schools in Arizona and eventually across the United States. Thank you.
Very nice, great presentation. If you and your team members want to stick around and for the Q&A, let's hand it over to the judges. Like I said, Ron had to hop off. He is on the East Coast, so it's a little late over there. But Eva and Rich, if you guys have any questions.
Thank you so much. I liked your presentation, and I have seen a project similar to yours in Puerto Rico where schools actually provide the opportunity to students not only to learn the job, but to work within the school, generate money, and then once these students learn the skills, they can also be hired by other employers in the industry. So I was wondering if your plan was actually to provide this these students and your target audience with the skills, not only to be able to work with you in all these interesting projects that I loved, but also to transfer those into other job opportunities?
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, Alex, go ahead.
Take this question. So we provide a few different jobs that all the students can do. For example, for the students that are more social and more comfortable with interacting with people, they're more like they can help the customers check out, be like cashiers, and then that translates over. They can easily get a job anywhere else where they can be doing something similar. And then for some of the other students, for example, they're maybe less social. They don't like interacting with people. We could have them help put the bags together, and then that could translate to working at the grocery store, putting those together. So there's many different roles that they can take on, helping us out, and then that translates to many jobs that they could get after.
Fantastic. And another idea that I have seen before is that the school also create custom programs for employers looking to have an impact in your target audience, like the social responsibility of the company. It's targeting your participants. So the school actually developed a very customized program just to make sure they have the skills to then comply with the requirements of those jobs. So have you included in your model to do these kind of partnerships with potential employers?
Yeah, I think that's the next step for us. After providing work-based learning opportunities, the students can learn a little bit more. And then that's a job for Alex, Arjun, and I, just to develop more connections with these employers so they can get jobs easier.
Amazing. Great job.
Thank you.
Hey, nice meeting all of you, and thank you for what you're doing at Chaparral School there and the start of a business. How do you educate your mentors in terms of providing the support to these students?
Yeah, so obviously the mentors are DECA students. So Alex, Arjun, and I work with them by ourselves just to help train them. And the more they work with the special education students, the better they get at it. So it just kind of comes from experience and learning from Alex, Arjun, and I.
And for the other schools that we're hoping to expand to, we're going to create kind of a handbook for training, kind of how we have been training the mentors. So then the mentors at other schools, obviously it's going to be motivated students, leaders, so they can just take a look at the handbook, adapt it for their own school, and then use it to train their mentors to train their students.
And forgive my ignorance, but DECA stands for?
DECA, a club that we have at school. It stands for Distributive Education Clubs of America, and it's for students that are interested in like business, marketing, and it teaches them real life skills for those fields.
Okay.
It's an organization. They have clubs at a bunch of schools all over the United States and Canada. It's a very widespread club.
And then just one other question: have you seen other schools that have programs, or are there programs similar to this, or that have been put together?
No, Operation Leave No One Behind is actually the first school-based social enterprise providing work-based learning in the entire nation.
Five-minute warning for feedback and questions.
Okay, I'll let someone else ask.
I was really impressed, with the fact that you already have a revenue base. So you were saying that you don't, you're not asking for donations. I'm still wondering, isn't that something that you could also pursue anyway, just so that you have more resources to expand, as you said, all the way to the country?
Yeah, asking for donations, obviously there's no harm in that. what we're trying to do is create something that's very self-sustaining so that many other schools, because Chaparral, we have tons of resources. It's in a great neighborhood. We have really, it's the best. So we want to create something sustaining and easy to replicate so that other schools with less resources and they might not be in a harder situation, that they'll still be able to do exactly what we're doing.
Excellent. Great.
Chaparral is a very high income school, but we want to be able to expand it to lower income schools. For example, schools in Phoenix that don't have the funding. Those are the students that are especially being left behind. The special needs students at low income schools receive very little support and resources, especially for after graduation. The outlook is not good for them, so that's what we're hoping to provide, hope
so
for them.
I understand that. And I mean, I was also impressed by your saying that you are the first social enterprise, self-sustaining social enterprise in any school in America. So in that respect, there's, I think, a huge, a rather large burden on you to bring that to other schools, to make it successful. And in that respect, I mean, if you have both revenue streams, as robustly fostered, then maybe there would be this extra pot that you could use to help, more disadvantaged schools. It's just a thought.
Yeah, totally.
That's a great idea. Yeah, thank you.
I just wanted to let you know that I have, as I explained before, I have seen several models, and there's an industry that you can explore, because there's a school in Puerto Rico that provide their students with disabilities with the skills on baking. So they have developed an interesting model in which the students actually bake pastries and cakes and everything, and then they sell to the bakeries and the restaurants. So it's pretty successful. And you can, since you got the partnerships with the farmers, you can do something in that area too. So just to give you a few ideas, I love the company, the organization, and I think you had an amazing mission. So I'm really proud. Thank you.
Thank you. We've actually done some research, and we have seen a good amount of schools doing sort of bake sales and things of that nature. So we have seen things like that. We decided to go with selling vegetables and other products just because we figured it would be sort of less work, like on our part. We can do that much easier rather than having a bake sale. We don't see that as very sustainable. But
this is not a bake sale.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
they
to the
got a
restaurant.
huge kitchen, and it's a business to business. They sell to the bakeries and to the supermarkets.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that is a great idea that we definitely would look into.
All right. Well, if we have any more questions, now is the time. If not, we will reconvene tomorrow at 3 p.m. Anyone got anything left over for us? Going once, going twice? All right. We are set. That concludes it. Judges, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. Eva and Rich and Ronald, though he had to jump off, he's going to view the rest of Operation Leave No One Behind tonight and judge that then. I'm really looking forward to seeing tomorrow's presentations. I'm so proud of each and every one of you. You impressed the pants off of us. This is amazing. Great work. All
Great.
right.
Thank you so much. I'm so impressed.
Absolutely.
Great job, everybody.
Yeah, you know what? It was interesting. I called Armando at the last break, and I evaluate so many companies every year, and every team so clearly articulated what they were trying to solve, and that is the hardest thing for many small companies or entrepreneurs to articulate. What are they trying to do? And everyone did just a fantastic job on that, and that was really, really well done. Very impressive.
Absolutely. Really high quality. All right, you guys, you know
Again, a round of virtual applause for the judges who contribute their time to participate here.
It was a pleasure.
A pleasure.
All right, thank you guys again so much. We will see you guys back here again 3 p.m. tomorrow. You know the deal. If you have any questions, just call us, email us. We're always here. And thank you again to our mentors, especially to Dominique and Peter and everybody as well. So thank you guys. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.